in a skincare products,
Skincare,
they
yeah.
will normally package it way bigger than the content. And that's an excess of
Wait,
plastic.
are we talking about K-beauty products?
Actually, it's
K-beauty, right? Why not we just do Zoom meetings? 80% of the meetings I go, it could have been an email. That's most of the cases.
Now you can add your justification with carbon footprint.
Yes. Sustainability was just such a very distant topic from me. I never had anything to do with it. But now that I've learned that actually it's not a word, you can actually monetize it. You can actually make it clever enough to work in a working product. This is probably the most constructive talk I've ever had. We're always talking about, so what's your dating life like? But
which is important as well.
Yeah, of course. I've always talked about Korea having their own problems like the low birth rate, the skyrocketing housing prices, and more. And it all stems from like the Seoul-centric culture, I guess, the Seoul-centric environment. Everything's just in Seoul. So while we can't solve this issue overnight, we can focus on making big cities like Seoul, Singapore, and other cities more livable. Just to give you a little bit of context, I'm here for the North-Southeast-West Summit, where climate leaders and entrepreneurs just gather from all across of Asia and share their thoughts and share their projects and what they're working on, innovative ideas to tackle urban challenges and sustainability issues and all that. So I've invited some of these inspiring individuals today in the studio. Who wants to introduce themselves?
Guys first.
Oh, wow.
guys first?
Okay. I thought it was ladies first.
Me too. I thought it was ladies first.
It's equality.
Okay.
I'll go first.
Jeff, yes.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I am Jeff. I'm one of the co-founders of Big Tiny. We introduce experiential accommodation spaces to city dwellers so that enables them to actually reconnect with nature, but of course not forgetting the creature comforts that we are so much accustomed to. Yep, so we have tiny houses in Australia, New Zealand, the European markets, and closer to Singapore would be Taiwan, Malaysia, and Singapore as well.
Should we go on over to Violy?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm Violy, so I'm co-founder of Sirsak. So we are a waste management company, essentially working with community to do community collections point, but also we are working to digitize the waste supply chains in Indonesia.
In Indonesia, yes, it's very important. So Jeff, you're based in Singapore. In Indonesia, we have a very multicultural, multinational cast over here, Korea, Indonesia, Singapore. And for context, you might see her switch with another guest later in like 5 minutes.
I'm a replacement.
She's filling in.
No, hero. The superhero.
So the guest for today is actually Nuryanee, and she's running a little bit late, but PingPing was here, and she actually deserves all the shout outs and the credit. So I'm actually glad you could be in the camera. So yeah, please give us your introduction. Yeah.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm PingPing. I'm the founder of NSEW2050 Summit. The inspiration to finding and starting the summit was really to spotlight rising climate talents. And I figured, hey, if there is a platform that we can shine the light on all these various climate solutions that they are delivering into the verticals of food, fashion, travel, and transportation, I felt that, that would be something that would be useful and helpful.
Yes. I just want to give you a big shout out and big thanks for inviting me all over to Singapore and giving me that inspiration and opportunity to participate as well.
Absolutely. It's our privilege. And it's exactly audiences like you who, what we call it as not yet converted or not yet into, or not yet into the scene is the kind of audiences that we want to reach out to, right? Because there is also another saying of there's no use preaching to the choir.
Yeah,
You want to preach to the non-choir.
Exactly.
So that they can later be the choir.
True.
So you're the exact audience.
And she's actually like not only preaching to me, but she's actually put me in a hostel called Kin Habitat. I want to give a shout out to that. Violy is staying there as well too. And I noticed everything there is very sustainable. Anyways, okay, thank you for your introductions. Nuryanee is still not here, so let's just go on quickly into the topics already. So quick icebreaker. Since the podcast is essentially about Korea, I do have to talk about it. It's mandatory. So question, have you been to Korea before and what was your impression about it? Preferably in your own sectors, in your own fields.
I can go first. I have not yet been to Korea.
What?
No judging.
Wow, I'm judging very hard.
So not yet been, but hope to go soon. But I watch a lot of K-dramas.
Oh, okay.
So, yes.
Right.
Okay, you've been
And-
indirectly there.
Yeah,
then.
so indirectly there. So that's I feel like the food would be nice. I enjoy eating Korea fried chicken in
Okay,
Singapore.
who doesn't? Yeah.
So yeah.
And go first.
I am actually been to Korea a couple of times.
Oh, yes.
Actually, more than 3 times.
Yes. Let's
So
get
my
it.
older brother lived there.
Oh,
So
really? Lives
we-
there right now?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's in
wow.
Seoul.
Wow.
So we went there for like every year, other than COVID time. So
Okay.
And I watch K-drama. So I'm as close as Korea as you can think of.
Whoa. So what brought you there other than your brother? Is it mostly like visiting your brother or like, travel or conferences?
And there is a plastic treaty conference last year
Oh,
in
okay.
Busan, and I was there as well.
In Busan?
Yeah.
That's my hometown.
Oh,
Okay, I'm so proud that Busan is hosting such a...
and you don't know.
Yeah. I know about it now. So, wow, okay. What about you, Jeff?
I have been to Korea.
Yes.
I have watched K-pop dramas, a lot of K-pop music as well, thanks to my kids and everything. Yeah. So the thing I love about Korea is, first of all, the food, because look at my size, you won't tell.
No, you will not be able to tell.
Yeah, and I love the cleanliness, the nature part of it. I'm particularly in love with Jeju Island.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, in addition to Seoul, because I love the heritage behind the different cultures, the Hainu, when they dive down without
Yeah.
any breathing apparatus
The
to
lady,
retrieve
right?
the
Yeah.
abalones and everything. Yeah, so really in love with that part of the Korean culture.
Maybe some tiny houses in Jeju in the future?
Maybe
Yeah.
you never know.
That
Because
would be
I
great.
thought it gives a very good perspective, because like for Singaporeans, we travel to Seoul to satisfy the wife's shopping sprees and all that, and then do another trip to Jeju
Yeah.
to experience the nature, what nature has to offer in Jeju as well.
Right.
So I thought it was a very good mix. Yeah.
Right. So we've talked about Korea a little bit, but today's topic is going to be about sustainability, urban life, and how we can better that environment and all that. So before we go on, like as you said, there are a lot of non-converted people in the audience. Like not a lot of people know or are friendly about like these terminologies or the subject itself. Could we just do a quick key term breakdown?
So I think the concept of sustainability, if I could just bluntly break down the word, it's sustain, right? And then ability.
Yes.
So literally in those two words, how do we sustain ourselves? How do we sustain the environments that we live in? How do we help sustain the societies that we live in? And then ability. So what are we doing? What actions are we doing? What sorts of behaviors are we adopting? And then the other word or the other acronym that is thrown around quite frequent is ESG. ESG, in short, is what listed companies use to report, right, on their various environmental E, social S, and G, governance, right? Because they're a public listed company. They need to have some kind of corporate governance. And so ESG then becomes the commonly thrown around acronym
Right.
that folks use to relate to sustainability. And then the third word that David mentioned, circular economy.
Maybe Yanni should have done it,
Oh,
or
yes.
maybe Violy could
Yes.
explain
Okay.
about it. Yeah.
I will describe circular economy as anything not linear. So I think our economy has long been very linear, meaning that we buy something and then we use it and we throw it. So that's the linear economy. And when we talk about circular economy, it's really how we can use materials as long as we can. So we're talking about a lot of R. So not just 3R, right? So it's a lot of R. Recycling is just one of it, but also about repairing, reusing, refurbish, a lot of other R.
Okay.
But the idea is really how can we keep materials that we take from the earth as long as possible.
But I'm curious, in your own perspectives, in your own fields, how does sustainability apply to you guys, like your projects in respectively? Yeah.
The deployment of our tiny houses, because of the pure fact that they're on wheels, it doesn't require making a foundation, which requires cement.
Right.
It does not require us to cut down trees because we can move it anywhere and take notice of where the trees are, and then we plan in accordance to that. The tiny houses themselves are actually built up using sustainable materials. So we use reconstituted wood. Most of the materials are recyclable. A really important factor is actually the accessibility and the ease of usage of introducing these concepts to the non-converts. I think we coined that term.
New terms.
Yeah, so I think to make it as easy as possible so that people don't find it a hassle, because most of the times, for example, let's say plastic bags. You go to the convenience store, it's convenient
easy.
because you get it from the counter. And then, but of course, now we are trying to push towards bringing our own bags, but that may be a hassle to some people who may not have it at the moment when they are thinking about buying something. So like in Singapore, the tiny houses on Lazarus Island, we introduced this food biodigester. So when you're prepping food, the food waste, the remnants, the remaining food that you can't finish, you just have to dump it in the biodigester. It converts into compost within 24 hours.
Whoa.
So the action is the same. You're just dumping it in a way into the biodigester. But what happens is that it gets converted into compost, which can be used to fertilize crops. So that's circular economy.
That's circular economy.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to push.
That's
and we're trying to
amazing.
make it really accessible so more people do it,
Yeah.
either consciously or unconsciously doing their part for the environment.
Yeah, people are lazy. Let's admit. So I think that's a great mindset. You know, they are just participating in sustainability without even knowing about it.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a great point. Violy, what about you?
So at Sirsak, we work in the recycling area. And in Indonesia, we do have a lot of waste problems. And what we are trying to do is to build community collection points. At the moment, we are in Jakarta. On top of that, we want to digitize the supply chain of the waste. Why we're doing that is because we're seeing when we talk about linear economy, it's very well developed before it become waste, right? It's track, but then we don't do the same for waste. And that's what we felt makes waste become not linear. Because you're not tracking it, people don't know where it goes, people don't know where's the materials, and then when you don't know where the source is, company doesn't want to use it, and that's where recycled materials doesn't really get used to a lot of companies. The demand is not high, and then when we talk about our industry and economy, it's still very capitalistic.
Right.
And so for recycled materials to be used, it has to have a clear source of where it come from, and that's why we wanted to track that waste after. So then when we sell the recycled materials, it's trackable. So company can actually use it for their production.
Oh, wow.
Is it about introducing transparency into the waste management system?
Exactly.
Wow. So you just really flip the perspective.
Yani has arrived.
Yani has arrived. Okay. she may enter the podcast, yes.
Hey, so hi everyone, I'm Yani. I am the co-founder of Commoners. It recycles textile waste into new product, transforming like used textiles into something of higher quality and value. We're also a social enterprise because we hire local beneficiaries. So like single mothers, housewives, and even marginalized women as part of our production team and really empowering them. Yeah, and recently we just ended a project with Singapore Airlines.
Wow, that looks so pretty. So that's from a uniform,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Wow.
So it's the engineering and slashing uniform. So it's actually, this is our first corporate projects. And after that, we're currently working mainly with corporations, recycle textiles on a larger range. Even when we spoke to like hospitals, the textiles that they throw away per week is 200 kg.
Per week.
200 kg.
200
From
kg.
staff or?
They can be linens, operating
Wow.
Every
figures.
week.
Yes.
Congratulations again. That is huge. And I hope like you can work with more and more corporations
so
and
much.
hospitals and hopefully maybe even Korean companies in the future.
Yeah, love
Expansion
to.
throughout Asia and the world. So yeah. First of all, Yani, where do you live in right now?
Singapore.
Singapore.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Jakarta.
Jakarta.
Singapore.
So, okay. Cities that are very populated, dense, uses a lot of disposable products, plastic, a lot of aircon and all that. So we should pay some respect to our own cities on what we're doing right. What are your cities respectively doing in efforts to like preserve the environment, efforts for sustainability and such? I'll go first, actually, just to set the tone. So in Korea, in Seoul, if you visit, there's going to be a stream right in the middle of Chongno. I don't know if you've been there, but
I've been there.
You've been there, right? It's very beautiful, right? So that used to be a highway back then. Yeah, and then the mayor said like, oh, we need more green, flood management area for people to just like hang out and all that. And the idea is like, a highway that's not being used, it's very industrial and very like cementy and all that. Using that place and just renovating into a stream. And there's actually like an ecosystem going on over there as well. So there's also I don't know what's it with highways. There's another highway right in the middle of Seoul Station. If you visit there, there's like a mini botanic garden over there. There's like a lot of trees and plants all throughout that highway. So they kind of redecorated into a thing called Seoul, where citizens can just like go on dates, hang out with their family, and just like walk above the Seoul Station and all. It's really, really good. And another example is we used to have like massive oil tanks, but they're not used anymore. So those were actually turned into like art galleries and performance halls, concert halls, communal spaces for people to just gather and enjoy. So I feel like Seoul has its limits with becoming green and going all sustainable and all that, but within those resources we have a strength in kind of switching that up into something more usable, something more sustainable for the people to enjoy, and actually add some more green, actually add some more biodiversity in those areas. So that's a really great point about Seoul. Yeah, I love that. So I'm done with my part. So shoot off, you guys. What's happening in your cities? I'm very curious.
Recently, like companies like Club, which have places been around Singapore, so they have like about 1,000 textile bins, because previously there's only bins for electronics and as well as plastics and papers, but there isn't any for textile. But currently now they have it, which I feel is a really good initiative to actually encourage people to dispose of their textiles ethically instead of to the dustbin. You can just go to your nearest Club bin, which I think they have an app that you can locate it. So you can just find that yellow distinct bin and dispose it there.
You put it there and then
correct.
they collect it.
Yeah, they collect it. And then they will actually either shred it or maybe dispose it off ethically. Yeah, it's interesting because they do have like a thrift shop as well for those good quality clothing as well. So they encourage like swapping and encourage people to exchange your clothing, because there's many different ways that you can do that other than upcycling it with commoners. Yeah.
If that's not the case, if we're not like recycling the clothes, then it would either be going to landfills or incinerated or stuff like that, right? So how does Singapore like deal with the textiles or other wastes?
Yeah, it will go to the recycling center and as well as to the landfill.
Landfills.
So Semakau Island, it says like, was it 2035 that it will be filled out?
Really? But then I guess you're like covering it up and making it into like like boasting about Seoul again. There's a place called Sky Park. That used to be like a landfill too.
Right.
But they covered it up and they made it into a park.
Yeah.
And initially people were against it because they were concerned about the smell and all that. But now it's like a very, very well visited place by the citizens and all that. So
I think some part is quite similar to Korea. I mean, we are landlocked. The price of land is really high in Singapore. So I think I'm very impressed with how, for example, the government turned the Marina Barrage, which is like a reservoir of sorts, into a public place where families could bring their kids and all that. And of course, on top of that, to top off the cherry, they do have educational pieces within the place itself where people could learn more about how, for example, water is being treated or how we actually do the reserves of the water in Singapore and all that. So I thought that was making sure that the information is publicly available, making it more accessible for the people as well.
For the non-converts.
For the non-converts, yes, of course.
Words of the day.
Yeah,
very important, yes.
Yeah, and then of course, if you drill it down further, I think plastics for convenience stores and all that, and some people may forget to bring their own plastic bags. This particular shopping convenience store itself, they do provide additional bags so people can bring their bags, which they have maybe tons of, to put it at the store for people who forget to bring their own. It was a really good initiative because people like me who is very forgetful, we may just pop in to get something and we're like, oh, we don't have a bag. So
Yeah.
you could actually grab one from that counter.
Really?
Yeah, so I thought that's a really
that's
good
brilliant,
initiative. Yeah, to
That's
prevent
effective.
or rather to reduce more plastic bags usage.
Right.
So I think the good thing is Singapore. I think more and more people are becoming conscious of this green environment as well, and then they are also taking steps within their abilities to adhere to this new, more conscious lifestyle. Yeah.
That's great. Singapore and Korea covered, so let's go to Indonesia.
This is the toughest question, so because so Indonesia is not as developed as Singapore and Korea, so I think we still have a lot of homework, but I think we all are progressing towards that directions. Finger crossed. What I would highlight is the initiative that we do a couple years back called Waste Bank. So we have
Bank.
these community collection points,
Okay.
which we call Waste Bank. So essentially, the idea is because we need incentive for people to recycle. So we have set up small banks where people deposit not money but plastic waste.
Oh,
So it's a community-run initiative that the government led. Almost every area or district in Indonesia has that. So we have people within the community. So normally it would be your district managers, I'll say, and then normally moms and dads will
Yeah.
come and then bring the whole plastic recyclable waste to this particular area. So normally we'll do it during community day. So you go and then you deposit and then you have a bank account essentially. A bank account that normally will do cash out during a holiday, like a public holiday. So in Indonesia, for example, it will be on Hari Raya Haji, like the Lebaran day, in Eid day. So they will use that for the religious purpose. So I think that is one of the things that I appreciate what has happened, because then again, I think it's leveraging what is important and what is been the value in the East. It's about community, and then use that to actually do something good for the earth. So sometimes I think a family in a year, they could save maybe something like $100 to $200
Wow.
a year.
Whoa.
So it's
But
actually
still,
not too
like-
bad.
Still,
Yeah.
I mean, in Korea, we have something similar too. We have it in our, it's not called banks. We don't have any accounts or anything like that, but we have like communal centers, like, each district has one, but it's very far away from your house and it's not very accessible like you're describing right now. So nobody really uses it unless they're in the vicinity of that center. So I feel like, we need to like proliferate, like, distribute more of those things for it to be actively used. We've been talking about some great things that our cities are doing, but of course, if we're talking about environment and preserving it, there are some bad things happening as well. So what are some points that we could improve with the environmental policies, the sustainability policies in our own cities or
I've
something
been to Incheon.
Incheon? Yeah, airport.
The new developed city, the new
Songdo.
smart city.
Yes.
So I went to one of the museum. I can't remember what's the name. And then this guy essentially tell me all about the waste system in Incheon,
Yeah.
in particular. So they don't have a waste truck.
Oh, really?
Oh, you don't know?
I
That's interesting.
like people are not informed about this kind of stuff. The government is just doing by itself. Yeah.
Maybe they're doing pilots. So it said they don't have waste truck going around, and all the bins go connected directly with a tube underground.
Oh.
So the idea is that when you throw your waste, it gets sucked all the way to the centralized facility.
Really?
And I thought that was sci-fi,
What?
right? It was like, wow, that's amazing.
That is happening in Korea? Okay.
Apparently.
I'll need to Google that up. Yeah, okay. I need to cross
Maybe we can
check.
put some information
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So I thought that is brilliant, but of course, because you are building a new city, maybe that's possible.
Yeah,
Whereas
exactly.
in our case, maybe that's a little bit tricky. But that is I would say, really big problems in my city, because then you have being a waste worker in Indonesia. There is a article about it. It's the worst job in the
Really?
world, because it's really tough. You work in sun, very hot, humid.
the climate,
you
yeah.
are carrying kgs of
Yeah.
waste, and our truck is an open top, so it's not even from here. So you actually have to
Throw it up?
So they are all very muscular, but it really dangerous situations. It is smelly. It create traffic. We have enough traffic, but then because of they have to go through house by house. So I used to work on the ground really closely in Bali. And I'm following along the waste worker. I'm not doing anything. I'm following, and I'm tired like hell.
Oh, you're just following, and
I'm
you're
just
tired.
following from behind because
gosh.
it's so hot. And then and can you imagine what they do? So I thought when I was told that in Incheon, that was brilliant. I think every city has to do that.
Yeah,
I don't know how possible it is in technical terms, but
I guess
think
infrastructure
that's amazing.
wise, older cities can upgrade in the
Yeah.
future. Yeah, and that would be a nice reference point or direction towards it. Yeah. Yeah, that I'm proud that Incheon's doing that. I didn't know about it despite the fact. Yeah.
Now you know.
Yeah. So we're exchanging cities and what we're doing good, what we should improve and all that. I love that. So what about Singapore?
I think Singapore is,
Yeah.
is already quite amazing in terms of the support from the government, in terms of green initiatives and all that. So maybe if I may nitpick,
Go for it.
yes, probably to make these technologies more easily available in terms of costings and all that, because I think most of the times a lot of people are aware of such initiatives itself, but we also realize that most of the time people also associate environmental friendliness with high costs or higher costs than usual in terms of operating a business especially. So it's, I guess, ways in which the government can further subsidize things like that, because we all know, for example, solar panels are good.
Yeah.
They're great, especially in Singapore where it's really sunny. But the cost of setting up that infrastructure, it takes you years to recuperate from that. So maybe in terms of that, some more subsidies or making it more readily available even to the end consumer to actually encourage adoption.
Yeah.
Because I do have friends who live in bungalows. They deploy solar panels and they don't have to pay a single cent for their utility bills. And they can even sell electricity back. Yeah, but I'm just hoping that it could turn into something that every household could participate in, as opposed to something reserved for the better heeled people.
Right.
in Singapore.
It would be great if it's like a default, if you're building the HTBs or whatever, and then just install it in the beginning. That'd be great. So Korea has something similar. We can apply to the government, like I want a solar panel, and then they install it for you.
Wow, that's
However, you need to pay. And people, like, they're very calculative. They're like, so I'll be generating this much energy and the cost is going to be this much and all that. And they say, like, if you calculate about, like, in 2 or 3 years, you make even, you break even. And afterwards, you're like, but then in Korean culture, like speculation with apartments and housing is really big. So people move very often. So like, I'm not going to be living here for more than like a couple years. Like, why do I invest in those solar panels? So as you said, if it was just a default.
But to be fair, I think the HDB is actually equipped with solar panels now as well. So a lot of our public housing has solar panels at the top.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is great.
shout
So
out
you
to the
have
government.
nothing.
What are you doing, Korea? We need those right now. Yeah. I want to cut my electricity bill a little bit too. So I really need those. Yeah. So every city is not perfect, of course. We can all improve in certain manners. Can you share a personal project or something you guys are working on to make your cities or your environment more sustainable?
One of our projects in Singapore is actually on Lazarus Island, one of the southern islands in Singapore. So it's where we actually place 5 of our houses there. But of course, that's a collaboration with Singapore government and the Sentosa Development Corporation, because back then they were looking for an operator. They wanted to trial something on Lazarus Island, a light touch tourism destination for Singaporeans. So we found that a perfect fit, because what Big Tiny does is we suss out and we curate these places in nature, and then we have our houses put there and we introduce guests to that environment so that they could disconnect from the hustle and bustle of daily life. Yep. And of course, for us, whenever we go to a place and we put our houses there, we try to understand the culture, the heritage behind as well. So what we found was that islanders used to inhabit Lazarus itself, and then of course they were moved inland. So we wanted to pay tribute to that. So we actually did invite them back after our development was complete. We invited them to stay over. We had dinner with them. We listened to their stories, and I thought that was really enriching, because it teaches the people who are staying there that, this is not just accommodation for the night, but what we're trying to show you is how we could, for example, preserve the environment, preserve the heritage, the culture at the same time, because it's really interesting where they're telling you that, oh, this used to be where my house is at, this is where I played with my friends and all that. So we are trying to preserve that part in addition to, of course, helping to minimize the impact of the tourism on the environment itself. And of course, we don't only do that for Singapore, but in all the countries we operate, in Australia, for example. And of course, that interesting topic also happens in Australia, where the Aborigines are the owners of the land, and then of course they're forced to relocate as well. So we are aware of that. And of course, we are trying to do our part, but more so, we are also trying to change or help with society, giving back to society. So we employ the locals to work with us on that aspect, because the opportunity gap we saw back then in Australia was that Australian rural landowners, they have really big plots of land, but they are utilizing maybe 20-30% max. So 60-70% are actually just laying there wasted. Yeah. So we wanted to help them to monetize, because most of the time they are farmers. So their livelihood really depends on the weather.
Yeah. Right.
So during prolonged periods of droughts, floods, whatever, their livelihood gets affected. But we wanted to have our houses there to supplement the income, because we do a profit share with them, and they get to meet people from different states, different countries. So we thought it helps in terms of mental wellness as well.
Oh, wow.
They get to talk to people.
Full package, yeah.
Yeah, full package. And then they get to introduce the local regional food as well, because they can provide that as breakfast packages, barbie packages for the people there, where they are introduced to like maybe the cheese from the dairy farm next door, the wine from the vineyard next door. So this is what we are setting out to do, to help to preserve all these cultures, all these authentic experiences around the world.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Like you have to not only give the experience, but also try and connect them with the local people so that they really get to experience. Because I think tourism packages like around the world is mainly on the commercial side. Tourists just go there, take picture. I'm gonna go.
Checking out the bucket list and all that.
Right.
Yeah, that's lovely.
That's amazing that it's not only like environmental sustainability, but the sustainability of the community and the locals, and you're providing them like new experiences, new jobs, everything, mental care. That's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. Okay, Violy, you should have you better have something better than that.
I have something. I'll try. No, but I actually talked about that yesterday. We have to move from traveling to hotspots because of its Instagrammable and all those things to a slow travel. Because then we need to rethink our intention when we travel, right? Do we go there to care for the place that we go, or just for the sake of our self-interest? And I felt all the problem we have now with ways, commercial and culture and all those things, stems because we put our self-interest over everything else, put convenience over everything else.
Yeah,
and that destroy. I was born and bred in Bali, and I experienced that firsthand.
Right,
People started to come with beach club and all those things that is not part of the culture, but now it become a culture for the good and the bad. Well, on our side, SERSAC, we work closely with governments. We just kick off actually a project with Jakarta provincial governments on building waste bank, which I mentioned earlier. So it is mainstream, but it's not enough. So we have a target for this year to build, to make sure there is 2,000 waste bank across Jakarta alone to be operating. So waste bank has been quite a concept for 10 plus years probably, and the new government is really into pushing this to have 2,000 active waste bank just in Jakarta. We are powering the digital platform for that. So we want to help power this digital this waste bank to digitize their transactions, and then it will help the whole supply chain, as I mentioned.
Efficiency in the operations is definitely going to transition into more activity. And
exactly.
So that's very important. Okay. Wow.
Wish us luck.
Yeah.
It's ongoing.
Okay, that's great. And Nuryanee?
For me, I really applaud you, because I feel like data taking is really important. Aside from what I do in Commoners, which recycle textiles, I also do marine conservation effort, and recently I went to West Nusa Tenggara. So they actually empower the ladies there who are like the housewives of the fishermen usually like just take care of the children or go about running their own provision shop. I think they also empower them to like STEM education, should like to take down datas of the fish catchery like gritas and all thing. And I think data is really important. And I think linking back to what Commoners does is that I think not only do we recycle textile, but we also empower like our community, like the beneficiaries group, to actually find a way that they can actually upskill themselves or earn like a form of income. Because when it comes to our beneficiary group, they're actually like housewives as well, or like beneficiary makers who suffer like some kind of mental health issues, or even marginalized women who have like some kind of need of a safe place to work at. So in Commoners, we actually give them this opportunity to like earn a form of income, and as well as do something that they like and upskill by working with something comfortable like sewing a piece of product. So on our side, we really actually encourage like our corporate partners, so collaborating with like major retailers like Decathlon to recycle their textiles, their discarded textiles, which was previously in their circular loop. So we have two things that we benefit in terms of prolonging the textiles and also impacting the community through like our makers. So they actually work with us as a full-timer, part-time, or even ad hoc, where we are actually located within the community itself, running with like grassroots leaders and as well as the community spaces to actually reach these makers. Because a issue that actually was brought up by one of our community leaders that we work in to run our community sewing space is that these senior makers, they are actually isolated at home, and then there's a lot of issue that comes from for it, like isolation and as well as like for example depression. So through these opportunities, like job opportunities, we actually bring them out to the sewing center to just get them to mingle around with other ladies, upskill, because the makers that we actually invite, sometimes they do not have any experience in sewing, and people ask me like, why do you invite like people without any sewing experience? And I was like, it's actually to more of like an empowering, like an inclusive space to give them an opportunity to benefit themselves and as well as mingle with other like-minded people. So we actually encourage each other and we actually teach one another as well.
Wow, that's so cool. And you guys are not only serving one purpose, but you're making this ripple effect in society to better like society in general. So that's very, very respectable. One panel that was very inspiring to me yesterday in the North Southeast West Summit was Living Seas. Leon, he was a diver, and he literally it's like ecotourism, and he literally brings people to this village and makes them do snorkeling, and it's a fun activity. But not only just doing snorkeling, but they plant and install those reefs, the corals. They're regenerating the sea corals and all that. So when I heard that, I was like, wow, this is like a perfect example of like incentivizing tourism and also making sustainability happen while it's all like very natural and very fun activity. So yeah, like hearing all of you guys' ideas and all that, I'm like, if I were to do a next business, sustainability was just such a very distant topic from me. I never had anything to do with it. But now that I've learned that actually it's not a word, it's not just a phrase, you can actually monetize it, you can actually make it clever enough to work in a working product. As a working, aspiring entrepreneur myself, I feel like I'll try to incorporate it in some way in my business model in the future. So thanks for sharing all of your ongoing projects. I think they're just amazing. So we've been quite serious for a while, so just to lighten up the mood a little bit. Speaking of cities and their futures, if you had a dream city and you could do anything about it, like in terms of sustainability, what would that be? What would be your dream city? I mean, Violy kind of mentioned about like the underground, tubes and all that.
Soundscape.
No. Think of something else. In the meantime, maybe.
Yep, I'll go first. I think for me, the ideal city, which is better than Singapore now, quite hard, but would be one whereby, for example, the the whole island's electricity is actually powered by solar.
Wow.
We have EVs running around, which are actually producing lesser carbon footprint. Not sure about the manufacturing part.
Wait, I'm sorry to cut you, but I heard from, I think it was from the panel that until 2030, you're mandated to only purchase EVs in Singapore. Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's a movement. I heard about
That's
that.
crazy. That's wild.
That's-
2030 is like 5 years from
Yeah.
now.
So I'm not sure what's the
Crazy.
progress, to be honest.
Okay. Wow. Anyways,
Wow.
I'm still
go on.
driving a
Go
normal
on.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess that would be a very good environment because there's no pollution from the exhaust of combustion engine cars. And then of course the rest can follow, like we have bumboats in Clarke Quay for tourists to tour the rivers and all that. I think that they already converted to electric bumboats.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they did that. So it's really quiet now as opposed to back then that was like pum, 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 pum. And then you have the smell coming from it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of restaurants along the
Yep.
river
Yeah.
and you can smell that.
Wow.
Yeah, so I thought that could be the icing on top where really the whole city goes fully electric, maybe. The issues or concerns like bigger countries like Australia, for example, because they would have range anxiety, like, is my car charged up enough to travel to the other end?
Yeah, right.
Because for us, maximum is like a 40 minutes drive.
Yeah.
Probably 40 kilometers, and that's all. So I thought it's a really good place to really trial all these electric
test it,
vehicles and all that. Yeah, so that is my ideal city.
So Singapore from the west to the east, like max, it takes like an hour and a half or how?
30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Maybe 30, 40 minutes.
Really?
I heard if you take a straight line
Yep.
from the east to west with an F1 car, it takes
F1 car.
15 minutes.
Probably.
Yeah.
But who would
Yeah.
Someone told me that.
with an F1 car?
Yeah, but we need to make sure the F1 car has
yeah.
electronic road pricing.
There's no vlog.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But it's really small. It's really small.
Yeah.
So I thought it's a good test bit for a lot of things, for pilot
Yeah.
trials of all this.
Yeah,
kind of
Singapore
sustainable
is like a
practices.
very great place to test out all these things, and I think it would be possible because like the government has such strong power to like push these agendas and all that. So yeah, that's great. That's an ideal city for me. So what about you guys?
I would say like my dream city is where both nature and as well as like our needs blend together, so
Yeah,
that everyone is every living thing has like a nice place to like live in as well. So when we consider that Singapore is land scarcity, when they had the debate to remove the Dover's forest, so there's
yes,
this huge
yes,
patch
yes.
of like forest
Yeah.
they want to remove that forest area to like I don't know, to build something.
Oh no.
But I'm not sure if that happened. But when we consider these few things, reintegration of like infrastructures with like nature, I think is really important as well. How can we conserve like the old trees and as well as the biodiversity? Like yesterday, I was looking at Mothership Earth. And I think in Kalimantan there was like a orangutan just climbing like in the mining coal area.
It's very often.
Yeah, they
Orangutan.
Oh.
they were trying to find like
Because
a
it's their natural
tree.
habitat.
Yeah.
And I think that happens
I'm
in
mind blown. I mean, yesterday I was at Botanic Garden and there were like roosters and hens walking around and like monkeys on the top and like parrots flying. I don't know what's going on. And then like I was at MBS and then there was a sign saying otters are here. And I'm like, what? So it's crazy.
And I think that happens in Singapore as well when we consider ourselves land scarce, because we have very limited land, and as our population grow, we need more space to actually build more houses or offices. And I was at the one of NUS museum, and there's this very huge tree trunk, and it was like about probably a few hundred years old, and it was actually chopped down because they were building a golf course there. So they actually took it down and kept a piece of that tree trunk to actually explain about the consequences of when these things happen. So, and as well in biodiversity, and as well as like the animals, they get displaced. I mean, in terms of anthropocentric, when you think about humans only, these things we keep like our humans needs first.
Yep.
These things might happen. So I think we should actually consider everything in terms of like a biocentric point of view. Yeah, I think it's really important as well.
Compared to Seoul is like, if you go there, I love my city too, but it lacks green. It definitely lacks green. It's very just, cementy and very like gray. But if you look around Singapore, there's just a lot of green. Like just in front of my hostel right now, there's like this gigantic hotel, but it's like amazing architecture, but there's like trees and like, everything dangling down. There's like parks in the middle of every kind of neighborhood. And the wildlife is just so well preserved. Even if you go to Sentosa, in the film we saw yesterday, it's just like, so, as you mentioned, biocentric urban planning and such. I think that should be a definite approach in the future for as cities like Seoul and other cities. Great point. And really, yes, you gotta...
plenty of time thinking.
Yeah.
I am actually more a village type of person.
Village.
So my dream city is one that self-sufficient. Maybe more like a dream house rather than dream city.
Okay.
It's more like I felt we need to go back to where we have been in 100 years ago, probably.
100 years ago, okay.
Because when we talk about a lot about these big words of like sustainability, circular economy, when in essence is actually the practice that we do 100 years ago. It's nothing new. In Indonesia, we used to have banana leaf as a food wrapper.
Yeah.
And that has been going on until plastic came in, right?
Yeah.
So what I would really love to see is we start to learn history, learn the culture, and why it was there at the first place before all this damage happened, right?
Nice.
And I think in the past, what we do, something like tiny house, right? Slow living. You have your own small plot of gardens where you eat your food from there, you do gardening, and then you have like another houses on the other side, which is a bit far away. And then you have, let's say if you have kids running around in the fields. And that's kind of like, that's what humans supposed to live like. And then we have less depressions, less people who is lonely, things like that. And I think that's kind of a dream city that I would love to have, which may be close to impossible now, unless I move somewhere else. But if it's a dream and it's just thinking, I think that would be a really nice, like waking up in the morning, doing your coffee, and then just like doing some gardening.
I mean, because there's so much exhaust about like the city life, and like Seoul is like that, and I feel exhausted myself too. I feel depressed. I think definitely your idea it's ideal, it's imaginative, but I think it's definitely feasible in terms of like everybody right now in Korea. There's a trend where young people have fatigue over urban life and they're moving more towards the countryside because they can't stand like the confined environment. So they're going more into slow life, farming, simple lives and all that. So there is definitely a demand for that, and you just have to compile all of them, make a village, as you said. And if those villages like pop here and there around Indonesia, like parts of Korea and everywhere, I think it's totally doable, and more people might actually convert to that lifestyle. And it was just very eye-opening that the perspective of let's just go back to what we were doing 100 years ago. I've never thought of it in that way, but that's very, very eye-opening. So yeah, I think with today's technology, there's definitely a possibility to merge today's technology with what we used to practice in 100 years ago and make it convenient at the same time, but also very eco-friendly. So great. Oh, wow. This is probably the most constructive talk I've ever had. We're always talking about, so what's your dating life like? But,
which is important as
well.
Yeah,
of course. We've talked about like the massive problems about cities and what we would like to improve, but what's like very small little daily detail you notice in your everyday life that I want to fix this, in terms of like environment, sustainability and all that. For example, for me, is like I live alone essentially, and I order a lot of delivery food. And because of the nature of delivery food, they use a lot of disposable plastic, and it's plastic heaven in Seoul. Like, you order like a hot pot, they give you it in a plastic. Korea has a lot of spicy food, and it's very oily, greasy. The plastic, the spice, the red sauces all like cluster onto like the plastic, and it's very hard to actually get rid of it. And also on top of that, they cover it with like these sealed plastic labels. So if you tear it out, there's like remnants of it on the sides and all that. So people are just so very lazy, and they don't wash the plastic. They don't tear off those labels, and they just throw it away. And apparently I saw a documentary, like Korea is very big on recycling itself. But the problem is, even though we recycle, the percentage of recycling isn't that big because apparently those recycle centers cannot recycle those like dirty plastic and all that. So yeah, that's been a huge problem, and I don't know how to solve this right now. But my mom taught me like put some like what do you call it, dishwasher inside. Like if you shake it up, it gets the filth away. But then if you think about it, you're using dishwasher again to like clean plastic. So that's like it defeats the purpose. So I'm like, yeah, I wish there was some kind of solution to solve this. Like I don't know, we could use biodegradable, I don't know, paper based or recycled, things like that. The Seoul government could make that an initiative like Singapore is doing with the convenience stores and all that. So that's my little complaint I wanted to do, like to put it out there in the air. Anyways, what are your like little things that you want to solve in daily lives? Yeah.
In a skincare products,
Skincare,
they
yeah.
will normally package it way bigger than the content.
Oh,
Or even medicines.
yeah.
With the capsules, it's normally only half filled, right? The rest is empty, and that's a excess of plastic.
Are we talking about local Indonesian brands or K-beauty products?
Actually, it's
K-beauty, right? Like because I was feeling that because I've seen so many TikTok from foreigners saying like, why are these K-beauty products like overpackaged and all?
Exactly.
It's all to make it fancy and glamorous and all that,
But it's actually marketing
Yeah,
because
of
it
course.
will look more than it's supposed to be, and it sell more.
yeah, but
Which is weird,
Yeah,
right?
that is very
Why
not
would you
it.
do that?
Yeah.
Which is our fault as well as a consumer, because then we choose that one.
yeah.
Which also our fault because normally we'll do online. I did an online shopping for that in Korea.
Oh, really?
And I don't really know how big it is in online, right? It just came in.
Yeah.
So I don't really care actually how big it is. So they could actually make it smaller.
Yeah.
So essentially the package has like this small of solutions and then this big of bottles.
Yeah.
And I thought that was
That's weird.
interesting. Yeah.
Interesting is a very neutral word over there.
They
Well,
could do something better.
Yeah, like if you think about the consumer experience, you just buy it, you unpackage it, and you just throw it away.
Exactly.
Yes.
So why? It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so cosmetic manufacturers, K-beauty people, I know a few entrepreneurs myself, so I'll definitely have to point that out. Yeah. Thanks for the criticism, yes. And Jeff?
Yeah, sure. I think a little thing that I used to notice is, I think a lot of companies are also trying to be sustainable in terms of the disposable straws.
Straws.
So they replace that with paper straws.
Yeah.
But somehow I think the paper straw manufacturers have to improve on it a bit because after a while it becomes quite soggy.
Soggy.
You have like a cardboard taste. Latte in the morning.
Right,
or
right,
stuff
right,
like
right.
that. So I thought that could be something. I mean, of course, there's something already better, which is like the metallic straw.
Oh, yeah.
Or don't
the
just use
bamboo
straw.
straws.
Yeah.
Or don't use straws.
There's ceramic straws on my online store. Shout out to Piroso, check it out.
Yeah, that's something that you could consider as
Yeah.
well. But again, it's the convenience of bringing it along, for example. So I think that irks me because I do have a metal straw, even for bubble tea, the bigger ones.
Oh, there's a middle straw for bubble tea?
Yes.
Whoa.
It's bigger, but it's sometimes just like when you feel like having a bubble tea or a Americano
You
or
don't
whatnot,
have it.
you don't have
Yeah.
it
Oh,
with
right.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that's the problem. But I thought the paper straw was a good alternative. But of course, after experiencing it a few times, I went for the no straw method, which I thought should be even
Yeah.
better.
Even better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know the science behind it. Maybe you guys might know, but like yesterday I was at McDonald's and they gave me the plastic lid,
Oh, the
the
sippy
lid.
cup.
Yeah.
Right.
The sipping
Yeah.
cup. What do you guys think about that? Like, I have no expertise in that, but like, is it better than the plastic straws or paper
What's a
straws?
sipping cup?
It's like a cover.
Oh, so you don't use
So
straw.
you don't use
Yeah.
straw. Then you have an opening.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
plastic
the
lid
opening,
with an
yeah.
opening, and you
Can I
just
run something about that as well? So a
Sure.
lot of restaurants go for not greenwashing. They go for a sustainable when they change from plastic packagings like bubble tea, for example. But it happens in Indonesia. I'm not sure the one in Singapore. But when they say it's an eco options, they change it into a paper cups, which is crazy because it's not a paper. I mean, it's paper, but it's a paper lining with plastic.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
actually making it harder to recycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And then
right.
it's actually eco. So it's
Doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same with what you say, but I think as long as it's the same problem with straw. When you say about the lid, I assume it's made from plastic.
Yeah, it's plastic.
The priority for recycling is actually, as long as it's one material, it could be recycled. And straw is actually recyclables.
Yeah.
The only things that really make straw a highlight is the turtles that people keep talking about it, and then suddenly everyone care about a plastic straw.
Right.
But then you replace it with the
lids,
same plastic.
I mean, I guess it's good for the turtles at least. Like,
Better for the turtles.
Yeah,
They
the
can't
turtle
eat
doesn't
it.
eat
that
it.
doesn't go in their nostrils and all
It'll
that.
still be a microplastic, but
Yeah.
I think for me would be like traveling to different places. Sometimes I might take like, taxis or like Grab or Uber. Sometimes I actually feel guilty when, there's carbon footprint added to it because I'm the only one, in that vehicle going to a certain place. But I try my best to like, go for like Grab share, for example. So I share the vehicle with someone else, or even consider using a public transport. But certain situations, like when we want to travel overseas, like, to experience and learn. For example, for my marine conservation trip, I do have to take a flight to Indonesia. There's no other way. I had a discussion with my prof as well, like how do we consider when, sustainability advocates, take flights to go for panel discussions or to educate people about the importance of sustainability, but when they are taking aeroplane flights for quite a bit, but consider that to like maybe celebrities, like singers who take a lot of their own private jet. I want to say, private jets to go to like supermarkets. So how do we consider that in such situations? So I guess, everyone is trying their best to find a middle ground, and sometimes we like plant trees and everything, but I think we do really have to consider different things, and there's no right solution to everything. So for myself, I do try and plan it in a way that I get the best route, reduce the carbon footprint.
Wow.
And
Wow. I've never seen such a conscious person than you. Like,
I'm not.
I'll
try.
Taxis. Wow.
Yeah.
That is next level. Like, okay, on a funny note though, I think it's gonna be like extremely hard to fix like transportation methods, like airplane and flight, especially for overseas travel and all that. But one thing I would like to suggest to a lot of people around the world, domestically and internationally too, a lot of them are for business purposes, right? And this is my pet peeve. Okay, here comes my rant. Whenever I do a lot of business meetings in Seoul, even like my house is like in Mapo, and to Gangnam it takes like 40 minutes by car at least. So why not we just do Zoom meetings? Like why? Like when I just go, of course I know the traditional way. You need to set the atmosphere, meet with each other. But then like for like 80% of the meetings I go, it could have been an email. That's most of the cases. Like that's what I felt. So like just normalize. We have good tools here. Like you can have digital conferences. We could have the metaverse conference or whatever. I don't know if there might be other sides with Zoom meetings that are bad for the environment or whatever. But just
the data center.
All that. Exactly. So I don't know about that, but I was just complaining about myself, like having to go to meetings, and we could save that time and transportation and all that by just making it an email.
Now you can add your justification with carbon footprint.
Yes, exactly.
more sustainable.
Yeah, like I can justify it. Like I'm trying to save the planet. Yes. Okay. So thanks everybody for joining in the podcast today. I think the viewers would be pleasantly surprised and entertained with today's talk. I was quite worried because it might have been too technical. It might have been too expert level for the average viewer. But I feel like you guys brought up very relatable, fun, and informative subjects. So thank you for that. I really am inspired by each and every one of your businesses. Hopefully they can thrive and they can be more successful, and we can actually have huge impact around the world. And so if you want to have any kind of final words you would like to give to the viewers.
I guess every little part that we do counts, because I think if we don't start doing it ourselves, we can't inspire others to do the same thing.
Well, I think for me, maybe the best time to act is always tomorrow. Sorry,
Tomorrow?
The best time.
Well, that sounds like my New Year's resolution, my gym plan.
My diet.
Damn.
My diet plan.
Trying to sound wise, but it's failed. The best time to act is yesterday.
Yesterday.
I think we are running out of time. Really, if you just take a look around, we're really running out of time. And I hope, just like what Jeff said, every single action matters. And we should do it fast.
Yes.
I think don't overthink the situation. Try and think of something that you can actually do easily. Bring your friends, bring your family members, make it a fun activity. It can be something simple as like your clothing choices, go thrifting, you get to save money, you get to be fashionable. And you also get to save on plastics if you bring your own container. So look at it in a perspective that benefits yourself as well in a fun manner, so you don't really have to be, depressed that you're actually pushed by all of the overwhelming information that you have right now.
Yeah, like for me, I need some exercise. So if it's like a 10-minute driving distance, I'll like better just walk, right? That could be a little thing you could do in your daily life. I think that's what she was trying to say. Thanks everybody for joining today.
Thank you.
It was very, very indeed informative. Everybody check out their profiles and companies over here. They're all going to be in the description box below. And shout out again to the North, South, East, West Summit and PingPing who is watching over there. Thank you so much. And check out my vlog that shows the behind the scenes and everything, the participations and the panels and events of the summit itself. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.